themes when he's giving this his third State of the Union address tonight. One of those first main themes is a defending of democracy at home and abroad. He's going to revisit the events of January 6th, as well as talk about comparisons to Ukraine and what's happening abroad there.
He also plans on defending individual
freedoms.
We got to make sure we
talking
revisit
about abortion
January 6th
access,
again.
IVF access, as well as contraception access. And then lastly, he's going to build upon his economic vision and essentially talk about what he would do with another 4 years. In addition to that, Jeff, the people inside the White House that I've spoken to say that they really view this speech as what they describe as the starting gun of 2024. And so you're going to hear him draw a lot of contrast with former President Trump, although not name him, but to refer to him as his predecessor. People inside the White House also tell me that they are eager to see the president spontaneously react if House Republicans heckle him, which in the past some Republicans have. And you'll remember that at his last State of the Union address, he had an interaction with them regarding Social Security that the White House staff was very pleased with. And so they're preparing for more interactions like that, Jeff.
We are keeping one eye, of course, inside the chamber. We go to the live camera there, and you see, of course, both parties, both houses of Congress are in that chamber tonight. We should note many key legislative issues remain stuck in partisan gridlock, like immigration and border reform, as well as Ukraine aid. But all the members are there together tonight, as well as several key administration and government officials. We are just keeping an eye to see when the House Sergeant at Arms, William McFarland, will announce, as he traditionally does, the arrival of the President of the United States. But Laura, as you mentioned, this is the first time that we're going to be hearing from President Biden since this race has officially become a rematch of 2020. It's not a political speech. We should underscore that. But tell us a little bit more about that vision he's going to lay out for a potential second term.
That's right, Amna. So it's not a political speech, but the president is definitely going to
Hey, Tommy, watch this,
strike as many
bitch.
contrast as possible with Republicans as well as with his predecessor.
Get a life,
and on
bro.
that
Stop
front,
drinking.
he is going to be urging
Acting like a little
Congress
punk-ass
to take up
bitch.
the bipartisan border deal, which was stalled because of the fact that House Republicans didn't want to vote for it. He's also going to really
Watch
pressure
this joke.
Congress
You want to see a funny
pass
joke?
funding for Ukraine, urging them to support that democracy abroad.
Don't
And
cry
then he
about
also
it. Don't
is
be a
going to
drunk
make
bitch.
Some new policy proposals. Amna, he's going to talk about raising the corporate tax rate by 28%. He is also going to propose offering first-time home buyers a $5,000 tax credit. He is going to also talk about his past accomplishments.
There'll be a retard somewhere else.
So lowering prescription drug prices for seniors,
got
but say that
time
he
for
wants
it.
to do that for all Americans, as well as lowering
be here, don't be
putting a
here.
cap on the price of insulin, which right now
Come and
just
be a-
applies to
don't come and
Medicare
be a
recipients,
troll.
but that he wants that apply to all Americans. So
He,
those are parts of his agenda
He likes
that he is going
getting
to
drunk
lay
and
out, as well as
calling people's
really
wives
showing some empathy,
and stuff,
I'm
or
told by White House
just
sources,
calling
and acknowledgement
everybody like a
of
child over and
the
over
number
and
of
over
people
and
that have
over because he
died
really
in
needs
Gaza
somebody
and
to
of
talk
what
to him.
Palestinians are going through,
And then when we
yeah,
don't
on that
answer in the
front,
group
Amna,
calls,
he is going
he
to
starts
announce
direct calling
this new
people,
humanitarian aid
and he's a little
action of
gossiper.
building a port
He
on
likes
the Gazan
to, you
coast
know,
to get more
run
dire
around and
humanitarian aid
tell his
to people that need
stories
it.
and gossip
And Laura, as
around
you've
like a
been
little
speaking, we've been
girl.
seeing female members of Congress of the Democratic Party wearing white. They're really continuing what is now a years-long tradition of color coordinating their outfits. This year is a tribute to the suffragettes. And earlier
when
we
I said,
saw
"Hey, Tommy,
sitting
stop
in the
doing
back
that,"
of the House floor,
he starts
expelled New York Congressman George Santos. And
anyway,
we should say
it's
that
unimportant.
as a former member of Congress, he still has access to the floor that is provided to all former members of Congress, and he, through his own volition, decided to show up today.
I'm trying to find.
Amy Walter,
I'm trying to find the Truth Social fact check.
Presidents typically deliver their State of the Union addresses earlier in a year, but this year is different in that the president is delivering his remarks to Congress at a time when his re-election bid is fully underway.
Right, we literally kicked off the election Tuesday. Right here, it felt like. Well, I was here not that long ago talking about the general election being set, and we don't really ever see that when we have a State of the Union. It's also very much about what can happen legislatively going forward, and we know where things sit right now. This has been the least productive Congress in modern American history. There's not much that is likely to
Doesn't work.
unjam this Congress.
Bernie.
And so he's
What
talking
up, Bernie?
to a body that is probably going to be doing little to nothing on any of these priorities. So it
He's a body that's doing literally nothing.
messaging what he would like to see.
We could pull
not
up
just for
Crowder's
next year,
fact
but for
check,
the
but I
next
really
4
want to
years,
watch
rather than sort of imploring those sitting in
Trump's
front of him
fact
to help
check.
move an agenda ahead.
Jonathan Capehart,
But I think
this
it's on
is likely to
Truth,
be
and I can't.
maybe the most watched moment of the 2024 campaign so far, and millions of Americans.
This
going to
is the
tune
most
in
watched
to
moment.
what President Biden has to say tonight. How should he prioritize
I don't know my Truth
the
Social
issues
password.
in terms of convincing people and
Rachel
raising some
Maddow
of
is
those
mildly
voter
attractive.
enthusiasm
Change my
numbers
mind?
among skeptical
No.
Democrats out there that this is the guy they need to show up for.
Okay,
Sounds like my dry haters. They'd be lying. They love lying about me. I know.
Voters who are figuring out whether they want to
It's so
vote for
funny.
Joe Biden,
It's
they're
funny.
not necessarily looking
You
for
really-
a particular policy unless
That's why I'm
excuse
like,
me, unless it is
people
you know,
don't like
the
me,
folks
people don't
for
talk
whom
trash.
Gaza is their
I'll just
single
block
issue.
them.
I think a majority
I don't
of
block people in other
Democratic voters
chats,
are going to be
but this is
looking
my
at the
channel,
president
and,
and watching the performance. They want
you know,
to see
if
whether
you're gonna come
he
in
has
with
the
some mess,
energy
I'll
and
just
the
block you.
the vitality.
I don't want you here.
Does he perform
I
the
don't
job
care.
well?
I don't
Which
care if
for-
we don't have
you know, to my mind,
1,000 people
I think
watching.
he's got
Well,
a
we
ground
have
to run on,
13,000
and
people
and
watching,
he's going to talk about that tonight.
but I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about that. I stream. I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about, and I'll talk to who I want to talk to. And if I don't like you, get out. Get out. You're not welcome in my house. Get out. So
shoulder, you might as well use it. And so I'm looking to see if we get some of those kinds of exchanges. I'm also looking for a little poetry in that.
yes, this is my
People
house.
won't believe your facts if they don't agree with your story.
And if you don't like it,
And I think it's a
go make your
useful
own house on
in
the
case of
internet.
simply laundry list
You know, go
to
do your
have
own
an
thing.
overarching narrative that people can
That's
relate to.
fine.
And there has to be some poetry there.
I don't mind. You
And
know,
so,
nobody's gonna
we'll
be
see
mad
if
at
we
you.
get a little, even some sort of narrative. And finally, there's a debate among Democrats whether he should play up how good the economy is. And some, including everybody I've ever spoken to in the Biden administration, say yes. Others, like David Axelrod, Stan Greenberg, who are veteran political consultants on the
Sometimes
Democratic
you just
side,
gotta
say
cut
no.
people out. Cut it.
People are upset.
No.
Don't try to tell them how happy they should be.
But
'cause
I
they're
am
not
gonna.
Interesting. You don't believe
I'm
he
gonna
should,
do
because
one
I
thing.
imagine much of the achievements he's going to try to tout over the last 3 years have to do with the economy, which is
I'm gonna unban
objectively, at least
Mr.
some
Mad
indicators show
chat.
getting better.
I've always thought that he would eventually
Because I like
benefit.
Mr.
And consumer confidence
I
is
just
way
can't
up.
have him
But
in the
support for Joe Biden's
Discord if
not.
he's drunk.
And so I'm beginning to doubt my own theory that he would eventually benefit.
You know, the other important piece about a speech like this, as you mentioned, Amna, this is not a political
Problem
speech.
is-
Right? This is an official speech as President of the United States. But
I wouldn't
for
have banned him
Democrats
from the
sitting not
Discord,
just in the audience
but he
here,
kept jumping
but
back
all
in
around the
after
country
if I
who
kick you
need
out of the
to
conversation,
understand what this
that doesn't mean you're
election,
banned.
what
It
the
just
marching
means
orders are, what
for
the
now,
narrative is, what the messaging framework is
leave.
going to be. This is
Come
an
back later,
opportunity
maybe.
for him to do that, so that
But
when
if you keep
they
coming
go
in
out
after I
and say,
kick
well, what
you,
is this whole election
then
going
I
to
gotta
be
block
about?
you from the
I
Discord.
keep hearing about this, this, and this. Here's the pathway.
Well, to David's point about how State of the Union addresses are so often laundry lists, can the president afford to deliver a laundry list tonight?
I don't think that is what folks are.
I haven't seen you in a while, Seasal. Long time
the
no see.
contrast is really
Shout
going to
out.
be so much of
Josh is an
again,
autonomous
what we're
zone.
gonna hear for the rest of the campaign, but also what
Look
we've
at
seen,
Jill.
quite frankly, during his time as president and the clashes that he and
All right,
Democrats have.
get
with
ready.
Republicans on
These
what
Democrats'
really
knees are going to be
preserving
hurting.
this, certain
They don't
policies
really
in this
get
country.
out and walk around
We've
that
just been
much.
seeing, Speaker Emerita
They're about to stand
in
up
to
and sit
receive the
down
First
and
Lady.
clap.
And,
Their
I believe
arthritis
that
is
we are
going to
set
be acting
hear
up.
from the House Sergeant at Arms.
President's cabinet.
Let's go straight to the floor.
We see now members of the president's cabinet
His
entering
cabinet.
the chamber. There is Secretary of State Antony Blinken, followed closely
I'm not,
by
probably not,
Lisa
Seasal. I'm just going to watch this. I'm not going to be streaming for very long.
Slightly at a height disadvantage there. Of course, towering above her.
I'm trying to
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin.
I don't know my
Attorney General
stuff.
Merrick Garland.
And of course, these cabinet members will now make their way down into their seats. We do expect them to be followed closely by the
'Cause Trump
president
is
as
supposed
well.
to be doing
And we
a
should
live
note,
fact
sitting
check with
behind the
this.
president for the duration of this address will be Vice President Kamala Harris and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who, of course, was chosen to lead House Republicans after Kevin
Don't
McCarthy's
jump or last.
ouster
Live
last
play,
year. And I'll just
Truth
note, I remember
Social.
that's a high-profile
Dang
seat
it.
there. There's a camera on you.
I
almost
have
the
to. I
entire
can only watch it
time.
on Truth Social.
Sometimes those cameras tend to create their own moments.
Trouble
In
logging
States of the
in.
Union past.
Save.
You remember Nancy Pelosi ripping up a speech
Her
after.
clapback. She did
That's
the
right.
clapback.
Hold on.
So we'll be looking for some of those moments. David, you mentioned, and Jonathan, I want to get your take on this as well. There could be that kind of interaction between the president and maybe some House Republicans as we saw last year. We get the sense that the president may welcome that because it gives him a chance to show he's energetic and vigorous and out there. But what other moments could stand out to you tonight? Is there a change in rhetoric or some kind of rhetorical flourish you're looking for from the president?
Or change of
that
rhetoric.
stand out from previous speeches?
Well, I'm always looking for that, but I think with this speech, I'm looking to the reactions.
Yo, they get
not
this
just from
guy.
the Republicans,
They got this guy
but,
amped up
you know, I
right
was
now.
looking at the guests who are going to be in the First Lady's box. One of them is a woman named Betty.
Who is
Macy's, and
who is
she
Gino
is known as the voice of Selma. She was
Ernesti?
there on Bloody Sunday.
He's one of my
59
mods.
years
Who are
ago
my mods?
today.
Spike,
The
Star
thing
One,
about
Bibby,
Betty May
Josh
is
Hart.
that
Who's Gino?
She is a singer. That's why she's the voice. And
Who
she's
is
a powerful singer. The one thing I am hoping happens is that she continues to follow the type, which is what she does on the pilgrimage to Selma. She bursts into song on the bus, in the churches, on the street, singing the freedom songs and the songs that they sang on the marches. Imagine how powerful
Somehow
that
Dean
would
was-
be if that were to happen.
Dean was blocked. I don't know what he did something to annoy me, I guess.
The one thing that probably won't happen.
Bunch
but
of
if it
fuddy-duddies.
does, I think it would change things. I just think it would.
We've just learned that Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona is the designated survivor tonight. And we
Gail
also
Cardona
learned that
is the
Lisa
designated
Desjardins is with
survivor.
us.
Was she on the
Lisa's porch
ballot?
is just above the House rostrum there. You might be able to see her in this wide shot that we
State
have
of the
on our
Union,
screen.
they assigned the
Lisa,
designated
give us a sense
survivor,
of what you're
which is
seeing and help us understand the mood in the room.
which is a pretty decent show
It is a
on
different mood
Netflix.
than most of the State of the Unions I've experienced up here before, Jeff, and you've experienced so much more. It feels like there's less excitement. It feels like a less palpable electricity than what we usually get.
Don't
at
be
State
asked
of
for
the
an
Union.
ice cream
Is
unless
that
you
the
plan
mood
on
of the
giving
country,
us some.
perhaps? Is that exhaustion that these lawmakers have put
Okay.
themselves through?
I don't
I
care
don't
about
know.
this lady on PBS. I'm trying to get my True Social password sent to me. Okay, I unblocked people in the YouTube chat. Let's see. Live Biden State of the Union. Trump comments live. So Tim Pool's going to be showing. Oh, so you know what? I don't think he's going to be watching. Ooh, Lauren! You looking good, girl. Hey, let's go to the movies, Lauren. I got a vape. And something else for you. I'm trying to go to the movies with Lauren. What up, girl? She's a dirty girl. She's a dirty girl. My email. I gotta go to my email. All right, here comes the dude.
Even my pastor doesn't tell me to sit down and be quiet at church. So there are Republicans here who we've seen burst out. She's one of them in years past. Marjorie Taylor Greene, another one. I spoke to
She said, even
Representative
my
Greene
pastor doesn't tell
earlier
me to
today,
sit down and be
and,
quiet at
you know,
church. Well,
just
you're going to a
hanging out there,
lame
she
church.
said, coyly, I'm not planning anything, but there is a mood of agitation.
I don't even know what email
among
this
House
is.
Republicans. It has been here for several years. It is
I don't even
part
know what
of the
email
Trump
I
persona,
signed up to True
especially
Social with.
present
I did
in
that
the House
years ago.
Republican Conference. And I think that the White House is ready for it.
Okay,
And
lady.
that
I don't
actually
care what this
brought
lady.
out
I don't
some
know
of
who
the
this
best
lady is. Let me see. Maybe it's on my other email. You're a joke for kicking me out of your group. You're a joke for getting kicked out.
And now President
Seems
Biden
like a
has
you problem.
entered the chamber and is making what can be an extended walk down
Certainly for this
to the
president.
podium.
All right, here comes the old man.
And David, we should note, is very comfortable in this chamber. This is very much a home game for him.
Except for he was in the Senate, so they consider this away territory. You know, he certainly is a lifelong politician, and he will take his time talking. We should begin speaking, I think, within an hour and a half, probably. But he loves this. This is what he loves.
We expect the president tonight to talk about freedom and the defense of democracy, what he sees as the threats to democracy. He still believes that that is a resonant message, especially for this campaign. How do you see that, David Johnson?
I think it is. I mean, I think the world is in a conflict between democracy and global barbarism and domestic barbarism. Some people want to play by the rules, and some people, like Vladimir Putin, want to bend the rules so they have more power to use their authoritarian full force. So I think that is really the big story of the election, the big story of Joe Biden's presidency, and he's right to filter things through that prism.
And I think the fact that this speech is happening today on the 50th
The heck?
anniversary of Bloody Sunday gives him
Where's this email?
gives him the opportunity to not only defend democracy, but talk
All
about
counts.
how
Maybe it's-
democracy is vital to the promise of America.
It's not keyed so
and how,
good.
you know, John Lewis and the 600 other people, black men, women,
I
and
don't know what
children
email.
who left that church in Selma, crossed over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, only to be chased back over after being beaten and tear gassed by Alabama state troopers, solely because they were trying
Create
to
an
march to
account.
Montgomery to get the right to demand the right to vote.
Log in.
You can't be fully American. You can't fully participate in democracy if you don't have a voice in that democracy. And so I'm looking forward to the president drawing that line.
Oh, she got her 45 hat
years
on.
ago today to the battle that we are facing.
Yo, this
right
lady's
now
all trumped
about
out.
overall.
Is that Marjorie? Is that Marjorie?
Will the United States continue to be a democracy?
What is these pins
where
they're holding up?
every person who's eligible to vote can
I think
vote,
that's
and
Marjorie.
everyone
That's
who votes has their votes
Marjorie
counted. And
Green.
if it doesn't work in the United States,
There's
then
old
how
Chuck
can we
Schumer's
expect it to
gremlin
work
looking at.
around the world?
Amy, we know this idea about American democracy being at risk. It is central. It was central to his 2020 campaign. It remains central to this 24 campaign for President Biden in terms of where voters are and how they see
Look at this
that
lady with her
as a voting
African,
issue, as something that is motivational
her
to
African
them.
garb.
Where does that
This
rank?
is
So
America.
that's why I think this term freedom is the one that they're using, because
You ain't never been
this
to
is
Africa.
one
Well,
where
she
it can
probably.
encompass a whole bunch of different topics. I think there are some people for whom the topic of democracy, the
Hold up,
issues
Flora. Josh is
surrounding
just
what
talking about how
happened
much
on
he loved
January
you.
6th and the president's conduct
Was I?
around and leading up to
Oh
January
yeah, that's
6th
right.
are centered.
That's right. I saw Lauren
This is
Boebert on the
2022,
screen, and I thought about
the
how much her
candidates
love
who
for.
were running on similar platform as the president, talking about how an election that
Now look,
was
here goes
rigged,
the.
denying the results of the election, that did not work as a campaign message for Republicans in 2022, and it is likely to fall flat again for this election, and why Democrats want to put that in the mainframe. But the issue of abortion, what's interesting when you've talked to both Democrats and Republicans, what they will tell you is the challenge that Republicans have had is that this issue is not seen necessarily as a medical issue or within the confines
It is seen as a medical issue.
talking
That's why
about-
you get medical misinformation if you say the wrong thing about it.
practice at certain weeks, etc., but that it is about freedom itself, this idea that women had a right that is no longer available to them.
A right.
And
There you
so
go. There's your
that's
rights.
where
All
you're
the people that
seeing
like to
this
talk about
conversation
rights.
about freedom can go in many different.
You women have a right to kill a baby. That's what rights are fake.
Information these days.
The real right is right and wrong. But you don't have a right to do wrong.
Campaign, a focus on that freedom agenda being targeted to different voters on different types of issues, whether it's voting rights,
Who's calling?
democracy, abortion
Oh.
access, healthcare.
As we talked earlier about Joe Biden being a creature of the Senate, he was just shaking hands with Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Mitt Romney, two influential figures who are not running for re-election. Let's talk big picture about health care, because President Biden is expected to talk about that tonight in his effort to bring down the cost of prescription drugs. When you talk about kitchen table issues, that should be issue number one.
Yeah, and it's when people talk about the issue.
I put him back in that other group because there's two groups. I put him back in the other one. I kicked him out of both because he was calling both of them back and forth. I kicked him out of both. And then I said, well, I don't really care about this group. So I muted the one group so I don't get any notifications from it. And I put him back in that one. So he can still call and talk to all the same exact people. They're in both the same groups. He can still call. I don't know what he's bitching about. All I did was kick him out of the group that I don't want to turn the ringer off on because I want to know if people are calling me from that group. So I shouldn't have to have my ringer silenced because his drunk ass can't not blow up people's phones. I don't like that. I don't like that blowing up the phone thing. Ooh, he just kissed that woman on the lips.
They did in the 2018.
And how many times the Trump administration, or during the Trump administration, did Congress try to
That's what I mean.
repeal Obamacare, and it didn't happen?
Exactly.
You know, we are going to watch the president deliver this address just 2 days after Super Tuesday. As Amy mentioned, we were all here. We were all spending that evening together. And Jonathan, David.
So I think the live fact check that Trump is going to be doing on True Social is just as Biden is talking, Trump is going to be truthing. Trump is going to be truthing fact checks about it. I don't think Trump is doing a stream. It would be crazy. Wouldn't it be crazy if Trump came on and he was like, we're doing a Joe Biden reaction stream. This is the Trump stream. We're going to be watching and reacting to Joe Biden's State of the Union address. That would be epic. That would be epic. We're opening up the Discord. Call me up, guys. I can't figure out how to log into True Social. I don't want to make another account. I never use this.
In an empathetic way. But I also think he's going to make a pitch for those
Yes, BBS
people
is
in the
pretty
Republican
left.
primary who voted for Nikki Haley. And he's been doing it since.
Did that pretty overtly, right?
That first statement out was like, hey, if
We can
you
check
Nikki
out
Haley, take a look at us,
Crowder's stream. He
because
usually
we are-
does pretty
we are
good
the
live fact
defenders
checks of
of
these.
democracy. So I think he's going to. These speeches are always to various constituencies. And this speech tonight will be the same, but the stakes are so much higher.
But how does he do that? How does he message to some of those independents?
Are you still
Yeah,
interested
well,
in the
you know,
solar
outside the White House, every Democrat I know,
special attention because I'm going to do
mood
something
ranges
that
from dread
Don't buy
to
another pair of
anxiety
new
to
glasses
despair.
until you see this
Inside the White
incredible
House,
new
it's totally
invention.
different.
Don't buy another pair of glasses ever.
Black Weekly was mostly ads by the end.
Gun racks. Gun
No
racks.
matter what
Was that a
nastiness
magazine?
that has been said, there is some degree, even during harsh political times, of fellowship.
All right. Well, they're probably playing the drinking game.
Shut up,
and
Jake.
camaraderie.
Are there
People
rules?
used to think Jake Tapper was objective.
Oh,
People used to use him as a standard. and I'm
Yes.
going, no, he's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
He
guy's
was-
not.
He wasn't objective, but he was better when he was.
He was better at hiding it.
Yes, when he was.
You remember he worked at Fox.
Yeah, he was.
I need to see the rules for the drinking game, Steve. Up. Salute. It's time. We'll check back out on that when he says something crazy. Here we go. Buckle in. It's supposed to start at 7. It's 7:30 already. We're 30 minutes in. We're going to have 40 minutes of clapping, 10 minutes of walking in, 10 minutes of walking out, and he's going to mumble for like 8 minutes. What are you looking at, Joe?
From both sides.
Hey, there's a bird over there.
And any moment now will begin.
Look at that. There's a bird over there.
His third State of the Union address. In his very first, he went just over an hour. In his second State of the Union address,
I think he went an hour and a half.
about an hour and 13 minutes.
13.
We'll see how long he goes tonight. Here he is, the President of the United States.
If I was smart, I'd go home now. Good joke, Joe. Good joke, Joe. I like it. Can y'all hear it good? And me?
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice members of Congress, my fellow Americans. In January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt
let's fact
came
check
to this
this.
chamber to speak to the nation.
Let's fact check
He
this.
said,
When was Roosevelt
I
president?
address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight,
Yo, how
we
was
come to this same chamber to address the nation
Roosevelt
Now,
president from
it's we who
1933
face
to
unprecedented
1945?
in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people.
Oh, I
that
think he
this
had
is
a-
no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare?
Democracy is not
freedom and
freedom.
democracy
It's an
are under attack
oxymoron.
both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
Yes, he will. He's not an imperialist. He's not trying to conquer multiple countries. He didn't want NATO on his border. He told them don't do it, and they did it, and now he's running up in there. Sit down, Kamala.
Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop
How often? Oh, I can't interrupt him.
stand with
Can't interrupt the
Ukraine
president. Hold on.
and provide the weapons
Oh, my God.
that needs to
Shut
defend
up. I don't see Putin going and trying to conquer a bunch of countries.
That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking
Maybe if we
for
hadn't
American
have-
soldiers. In fact, there are no
Yet.
American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm determined
Yet.
to keep it that way.
You said the same thing about the tanks, Joe.
Assistance to Ukraine is being blocked.
You said the same exact
by
thing
those who
about the
wanna
tanks.
walk away from our world
You sent them
leadership.
tanks 6 months later.
Wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered,
Yeah, ain't
Mr.
nobody worried about no
Gorbachev,
Ukraine.
tear down this wall.
Put up the wall. At least they're not.
My predecessor,
At least they're all not getting up and getting down like
Republican
usual.
president tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote.
That's a quote.
A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous. It's dangerous.
Ah, what'd I do? What'd I do? What'd I do? What? Somehow I muted it. Oh.
America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. Welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. Can they stand up?
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to hear it.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Not much to hear. It's Joe Biden being Joe Biden.
And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching.
Clogged
If
up.
the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down.
Why are they? Why is this whole group dressed in white? I wonder.
I will not bow down.
Look at Pelosi getting excited. She
In a
just got some
literal sense,
plastic
history is
surgery done. It
watching.
looks like.
History is watching. just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th.
Here we go with
When
January
insurrectionists
6th.
stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy.
A dagger at the throat of
Many of you are
American
here
democracy. Let's count how many
in the darkest
times
of
he says
days.
American
We
democracy.
all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy.
A great
since
gravest
the
threat.
Civil War.
A great gravy threat.
They failed. America stood. America stood strong and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended.
The threat to democracy. The threat to
Predecessor
democracy.
and some of
American
you here
democracy.
seek to bury the truth
Democracy
about
and
January
freedom.
6th.
Freedom and
I
democracy.
will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies.
Look at
This is the truth. You can't
look
vote
at
for
homeboy.
party
What's the
only
speaker's
when you
name? That's not
win.
Kevin McCarthy. That's the guy that. Look at him rolling his eyes. I kind of like that guy. Seems all right.
As I've done ever since being elected to office,
Nothing.
I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office to defend against all threats, foreign and domestic.
He said guns is going to be a thing I bet he'll talk about.
Respect free and fair elections,
Well, maybe
restore
not.
Trust in our institutions and make clear political violence.
He
has
said
absolutely
the threat to
no
American
place,
democracy
no place in America,
and guns
zero place.
are the number one. Gun violence
Again,
and white supremacy. Those are the three. And climate change.
it's not hyperbole. to suggest
Climate
that
change, white
history is
supremacy,
watching.
saving American democracy, and taking the guns.
Children and grandchildren will
That's
read
the
about this
priority
day and
if
what we
Biden
did.
gets in.
History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago.
He's trying to find her. He
14
can't find her.
months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle
Camera
of
found her.
IVF.
He's next to your wife, Joe.
To have that second child.
Joe, he's next to your
Alabama
wife.
Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade.
Stop freezing your
Told
damn
the dream would have to
babies.
wait. What her family had got through should never have happened.
I guess they're not babies yet.
Unless Congress acts,
If is
what
it
happened
fertilized?
tonight. Let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
They're not fertilized eggs, right?
Guarantee the right to AVF.
They're just frozen eggs.
Guarantee it nationwide.
Huh. I don't think if the eggs are not fertilized, I don't think they should have the same protections as a life.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right.
But I also don't think they should be
I thank
freezing
Vice
their eggs in the
President
first
Harris
place.
for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more.
Never trust a woman in a pantsuit. That lady looking like a man. Who's she look like? She looks like some guy.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it.
Yeah,
The
good.
chaos that has resulted.
What chaos?
Joining us tonight is Kate Cox,
Less dead
the
babies?
wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition.
Oh, and she wasn't able to get an abortion.
That her own life
Oh,
and
no.
her ability to
That's a
have
lie.
children in the future were at risk.
That's a lie.
Didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed.
I
What
learned.
her family got through should have never happened as well.
Okay, we won't mute, but we'll pause. But I learned recently that cesarean section is the most done medical procedure. And I don't even know if we should be doing that. I question that. That's kind of weird. It's unnatural. And we become too dependent on like the medical stuff to give birth to the babies and all that. But C-section is the number one most often performed surgical procedure. And because of that, death from like late term, what am I trying to say? Women dying because they can't get an abortion in the 9th month is not a thing. They just do a C-section and they pull the baby out. It's not that's a myth that abortion people will use. They'll say, "What? It's the life of the woman. What if her life is in danger in the 9th month and she needs to get an abortion?" Then they'll just cut the baby out. They don't have to. You don't have to kill the baby in the 9th month to save the woman's life. That's not a thing. That's something abortion people say. It's not a thing. They just use that as a foothold that they can take so that they can do up to 9-month abortions for any reason.
I think it's like every 4 to 12 births are actually C-sections.
Yeah, it's very common now. It's super common to get a C. And also the same thing as formula and breast milk. It's the same principle there. It's convenience. It's convenience. Same thing when women get put on drugs when they're Floor, I want a natural home birth in a bathtub. No painkillers. You're going to have to deal with that. It's going to be a big baby.
But
It's going to hurt.
There are state laws banning the freedom to choose.
No, that's weird.
Criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away?
Right, Floor, but they use that as the excuse. They'll say the life of the mother, we need to have 9 months of abortion because a woman might die in the 9th month giving birth or something.
Without electoral power.
No.
Excuse me, electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
I'm getting numbed up for sure. No. No. You're not. No, you're not. Because you're going to say,
about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women.
oh my goodness.
When reproductive freedom was on the ballot, we won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Please, God, no. Look at these judges. Are these the Supreme Court judges?
If you, the American people,
I don't know if they stand up at all because they're supposed to be impartial.
Right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
I bet you will, Joe. But you know you were president when we got rid of it. So how are you going to pull that off?
Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward. Because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear? Record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind. A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness.
That's because
my predecessor failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care.
The duty to care.
I think that's unforgivable.
Is he going to blame Trump for COVID?
To get us through one of the toughest periods
Here we go.
in the nation's history.
COVID.
We have.
It was so
It
tough.
doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
It is, yeah, it's strange. There's a whole row of people and they're all wearing white. I don't know what that's about.
So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now.
I'm doing that for a little bit.
America's comeback is building a future of American possibilities. Building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. And we leave no one behind.
I asked in the shot.
The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccine that saved us from COVID are
Get
now
that
being
shotgun
used to beat cancer.
shell one. That thing's
turning
pretty cool.
setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
Shane's here. He's just sitting,
Folks,
choking about.
my inherited economy is on the brink Now our economy is literally the envy of the world.
Bird Dog Whiskey.
15
Look at the
million
shot
new
glass.
jobs in just 3 years.
This is a shotgun shell. This is a double shot.
Record. Unemployment.
Sit down, Kamala.
50-year low. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a little act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing.
So the jobs are going up, and we say this all the time. All the conservatives say this, but they're basing off of numbers from the last year with COVID and stuff, that jobs are on the rise and all that stuff, and everybody's getting back to work. But a lot of people are not going back to work, and the cost, they don't ever talk about the cost of everything. Everything's more expensive, and it happened fast, and everybody freaked out, and then it went down a little bit, so everybody calmed down a little bit, but it's still the same cart of groceries is still twice the price. And wages aren't going up, but now people will say, well, Josh, you're against minimum wage and you don't want to raise the minimum wage. Yeah, I don't, because that's going to make it worse. If we raise the minimum wage and everybody gets paid more, then they just raise the price on the goods again. They want us to be broke. They want us to not be able to afford stuff. The average person. Once you're over a certain bracket, you're comfortable, then you become a Democrat. I guess that's the thing now. It used to be the Republicans was the rich man's party and the Democrat was the poor people party. But now I'm starting to see that the people who vote for Democrats are the useful idiots. They're poor and they think they're going to get stuff if they vote for Democrats. The Democrats, though, they're like rich. All the older Democrats I know that are trying to, like people like that live in the avenues, those people, they're all Democrats and they all got the rainbow flags out front, but they got money. They're not stressing about this stuff. So then when I'm like on Facebook, I'm like, Trump's coming back and the liberals are losing their minds. I see like there are rich women Democrats who get mad about that. And it's like, you got money. You're not like, you're not seeing what's happening. It doesn't affect you as much. And it's crazy. It's like because I always heard that Republicans was the party of the rich man and Democrats was the party of the poor man. But I don't see that. I see a lot of more base middle class people that are conservative and Republican. And then it's either rich white people, rich white lesbian women, or poor people, really, really poor, like homeless people will often vote Democrat and that's because they want the free stuff. They get promised the free stuff and then maybe it comes, maybe it doesn't. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times it's just bullshit.
Manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't
All right,
be
Lord
the
Spike.
manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will.
It'd be better if you.
More people
I can
have
try to
health
save it
insurance
somehow,
today.
or I'll open it and save it in
More
a file.
people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower.
Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. He just said inflation dropped from 9% to 3%. It's the lowest in the world.
Now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating
It's
American
not 3%.
jobs.
It's what are we talking about? Gas or food? Both are doubled. Construction equipment, supplies, plywood, 2x4s, tools, food.
Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s.
Oh, because you're getting pet.
Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you
Nah, sometimes they get stuff, Amanda, like free phones from Obama.
will be made with American
Sometimes
products
they
and built by American workers.
It was free for a little bit.
Creating good paying American jobs. And thanks to our Chips and Science Act,
No more from
the
me.
United States is investing more in research and
now.
development
Maybe
than
I'll take
ever
one more before you
before.
go.
During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles.
See, this is something good Biden did. I agree with him on it. The CHIP Act was a good move. Too bad. I'm pretty sure Trump had already proposed the CHIP Act and he got shut down on it. So then Biden comes in and does the CHIP Act. We start producing our own chips. Pretty sure that's a Trumpian idea. Trump was the one trying to bring all the foreign stuff that we had lost back to America. And now now Biden's riding the praise for that.
And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America.
Right, we did invent them in
Well,
America.
instead of having to import them, instead of private companies.
But who
now
did that?
investing
How did
billions
that
of
start?
dollars
I don't know.
to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
Yeah, what happens when AI replaces them?
Policies have attracted $650
All they're doing is
billion
sitting at an assembly line,
private
putting
sector
chips together. A
investment
robot's going to
in
be able to
clean
do that
energy,
soon.
Advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in
Yeah,
America.
I'm sure most of the chips are done by robots. So all you have to. He said, we're going to start making our chips for cell phones. You know, the chip, Taiwan makes all the
Thanks
chips.
to our bipartisan infrastructure
And,
law,
which makes
46,000 new
problems with
projects have
China.
been announced all across
So we're trying to
your
make
communities.
chips here.
And by the way, I noticed some
But
of you strongly voted
I'm sure
against it, or
robots
they're
and
cheering on
machines are
that
doing
money
most of
coming
that.
in. I like it.
Yeah, you just got to know how to work a control board, program the robot, and do it.
If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know.
Amazing how Pelosi is still there.
Roads and bridges, ports and airports.
Lord Spike. Pelosi's never going to die. You think that woman's never going to die? What are you talking about? She's always going to be there. She's always been there. She's an enigma.
Transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink
Pelosi
clean
drinks
water
baby
without
blood.
risk of
She's
brain
never going to
damage.
die. They're not wearing. They aren't wearing the Ukraine pin above the U.S. pin. Yeah, I don't see any Ukraine pins.
Urban, suburban, or rural
I'm surprised I don't see a bunch of Israel pins. Oh, it's the Democrats. I'm surprised I don't see a bunch of Hamas pins on all the Democrats.
Investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in a family farm, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms.
Hey, we're past the halfway. Well, we're about.
Leave home to make a living.
We're about the halfway point of him talking, which means he's going to start. His drugs are going to start to fade off.
Home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods.
Shut
Hope
up.
was fading. Then I was elected to office and we raised the
That's because you guys did COVID to us. Didn't you
auto
help fund that gain of function
UAW
research,
worked like hell to keep the
Biden?
plant
Didn't you
open
help put that in?
and get
You
these
and
jobs
Obama?
back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
The illegals will be given everything that we pay for until Americans fight back. Then the government will stop the freebies and blame us. Then sit back and watch us destroy each other.
4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America.
It's all it's all those things. They're attacking us on every front, in the pocket, just every crime, everything.
UAW President Sean Fain, a
Tech.
great friend and a great labor leader. Sean, where are you? Stand up.
Internet, computers, media.
And Dawn Sims. A third generation worker.
Yeah, but I think
UAW worker at Belvedere. Sean, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line.
even if we kept it
Today,
in our country, it still would have
Dawn has
led
a
to
good
this.
job in her
Or if
hometown,
we kept control
providing
over it,
stability for her
we
family
would be
and
influencing
pride and
China
dignity
instead
as
of China
well.
influencing
Showing
us.
once again, Wall Street didn't build America.
Yeah.
They're not bad guys. They didn't build it though. The middle class.
Look at
built
this
it.
guy. This is
And
the leader.
unions built the middle
This is
class.
the leader of America. Look at these evil puppets. Hey, that girl works at 7-Eleven with the orange and the black hair. I seen her. I
say
seen
to the
her.
American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up.
Can you guys even hear him? Can you hear Biden? Because I know I got the audio low on this.
That's you, the American people.
He's yelling.
It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future.
He's getting
is bright.
hyped
It's
up.
because of
He's
you
peaking.
That tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong.
I accidentally
and
sprayed
getting
deodorant
stronger.
in my mouth. So now I talk with this accent. Accent. Boo, dad joke. Look at the speaker. I don't forget this guy's name. I don't know the Speaker of the House.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where
Mike
the
Johnson.
days of trickle-down economics
Mike Johnson's
are
just
over,
been rolling his eyes
and
the whole
wealthy and
time.
the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state
He's cool.
that has more corporations invested than every one of your states. In
I
the
kind of like him
United
more
States
than
combined.
McCarthy,
And I
but
represent
not
them
more
for
than Jim
36
Jordan.
years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table.
Oh
That's
my
why I'm
God.
determined to turn things around.
Now
so
he's going
middle
to tell us
class
about how he
does
was
well.
poor when he was a
When
kid.
they do well, the poor go way up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong.
Here we go with the
and
prescription
I'm
drug
ending
costs.
it.
Trump lowered the cost of insulin and all the drugs, and then he came in and he executive ordered that be done away with. And then 2 years later, he signed a bill that had it did the same thing that the Trump bill had already done, that he executive ordered out. And now he's taking the credit for lowering the medicine prices. It's so funny. Satan always dresses in white. Oh, that's what the line of white people. I don't know, because I think Marjorie Taylor Greene was wearing. No, she was wearing red. She's wearing like a MAGA suit. But now he's going to take credit for the reduced prescription drug costs that he raised the cost of when he came into office, and then he lowered the cost.
Well, I proposed and signed. Not one of you Republican buddies voted for it.
You say the wall?
We finally beat Big Pharma.
Oh, the law.
Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make.
So the reason that the Republicans didn't sign his bill is because we had already come to an agreement on a bill under Trump that it pretty much just was about prescription drugs. But when the Democrats write a bill, it's 5,000 pages and nobody reads it before they vote for it. And it adds a whole bunch of other stuff. So it'll be like, I forget the numbers on the bill that did this, but it was just like the Inflation Reduction Act, the infrastructure bill, the medicine bill. I think they just did another one that sandwiched in a bunch of Ukraine funding into a bill that was about something unrelated. And that's what they do. So he said, we're reducing the price on the medicine, but also we're going to do this. We're going to put a bunch of pot shops everywhere. We're going to send money to Ukraine. We're going to send money to Hamas. We're going to send money to, we're going to send some jets over to wherever. We're about to fight China, so we got to take care of Taiwan. And so then the Republicans won't vote on it. And then they'll be like, you guys aren't coming to an agreement.
They only get
Oh,
paid
it's
$35
the grid's
a month
going
now and
down.
still make a healthy profit. And I want to. But what to do
What's
next?
up, Jeff Hewitt?
I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone.
He just mumbled. He said he wants to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month.
For
That's
years,
fine. But Trump did that.
people have talked about it, but finally we got it.
No, Trump
done.
did
We
it.
gave
You
Medicare
did an
the power to
executive order on
negotiate
your
lower
first
prices for
day.
prescription
You
drugs.
did like 115
Just
executive
like the
orders in
VA
a
is
day.
able to do for
He
veterans.
doesn't remember. He was falling asleep
That's
signing
not just
papers.
saving seniors money. It's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by
Look at Bernie still wearing a mask. Bernie's like, I hate all of these people. Just give me my. I don't even want to breathe the air these demons are
We'll
breathing.
no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market to treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for
God, I
500
hate
different
Kamala's
drugs over the next
face.
decade.
Oh! Come here,
They're making
Kamala.
A lot of money, guys.
Hold on. Come here, Kamala. I'm going to get her.
And they'll
Watch this.
still be extremely profitable.
Right here,
Will
right
not
here,
only
right here.
save
Ready? Come
lives,
on.
it will
Let's just
save
uppercut.
taxpayers another
Blah!
$200 billion.
Blah!
Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year. Even for expensive cancer
His neck
drugs,
looks
it
like
costs 10,
testicle
12,
skin. What?
$15,000. I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone.
Kamala's neck looks like testicle skin.
Folks,
Somebody make a meme of Bernie. I know, he doesn't have his gloves. At least he doesn't have the gloves on.
Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin,
What's up, Chew Man?
Moscow. I mean, excuse
Fu
me.
Man, Chew Man,
Well, even
Chew Man,
Moscow,
Fu,
probably.
Fu Man, Chew.
And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you.
Hold on, he made a joke. I missed it. We'll go
fly to
10
Toronto,
seconds.
Berlin, Moscow. I mean, excuse me. And well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you.
Yes, yes, stubborn one. Yes.
Same company.
Yes, yes, stubborn one. Yes. Facts. Insulin is money to them, so it's in their financial interest that as many of us as possible need insulin. Probably why all of our food is garbage. Probably why America is one of the fattest countries in the world. Maybe if so many people didn't need so much insulin, then the insulin cost debate wouldn't be a big of a discussion. There's a high demand for it. If there wasn't such a high demand, why do so many people need this drug? The cavemen didn't have no dang insulin. Because
They died because they couldn't eat, basically. They never.
no, because people are unhealthy. We eat garbage. We all sorts of things. It's all. Yep, that's true. Stubborn one.
Same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal.
Well, we're going to do Affordable Care Act times 2.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act.
It's called evolution. You don't know nothing about evolution, bro. I know more about
evolution.
evolution.
50 times before it will stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. We enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population. But
Women are more than half our population. Thanks,
That's why we're
Joe.
launching the first
Great
ever White
fact.
House initiative on women's health research.
51%.
Led by Jill, doing an
Duh.
incredible job as First Lady.
Look at Jill sitting with a black lady that oh, I forgot what her story was, but it was touching. And a white doctor who wasn't able to get an abortion. She couldn't get her abortion. That's the sad story. Usually they'll have like a family where like the dad died and the people were left on the street, and it's a mom with like 4 kids, and they're all Christian and they lived with the church, and we banded together and we helped them, and we did this and it helped them, and also we got them a house, let's start a GoFundMe. But here it's a chick who couldn't get an abortion, and an affirmative action person that I can't even remember the story because it wasn't that interesting. Yeah, it's just. And then this girl, I don't know who this girl is. She does look like a reptile. She's got a big fake cross on her neck. It's like kind of cross-like, but it's not really a cross.
Women's health research and benefit millions
It's like
of
a
lives
black
all across
rose
America.
of death.
I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down.
What?
To put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space.
So I'm not a homeowner, guys, and I don't understand mortgages and money and stuff like that. I'm a brokey. But what did he just say? A $400 tax credit. What's he talking about? Somebody who has a house? Starborn probably knows what he's talking about. What does that mean? He says a $400 tax credit once a month to help you with your mortgage. Is that good? Uh-huh. Oh, so when you do your taxes, if you pay your taxes or if you get taxes back, you get a little extra. If you have a house. I think that's what it means. I don't know. I'm a brokey, guys. I'm a brokey.
Just for 2 years.
I struggle to manage $100. Shane struggled to manage 5. I struggle to manage 100. He's talking about socialism? Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, Lord Spike.
Is also eliminating title
That's kind of what I figured. It was something bad. Sounds like a trick.
Home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big.
Well, it encourages people to buy little. Damn.
Cleared up.
It cleared out. Yeah, it's not good. That's what I figured. And then so what they're doing is they're like turning all the single family housing, they're rezoning a lot of the cities. And this is just how cities grow, but they're like rezoning the single family houses farther and farther out from the cities and turning them into anthill apartments, dang old coffin apart. Well, eventually in the tightest parts of the city, it's going to be coffin apartments like Japan or like China. And then on the outskirts, you'll have communal living where it's like 10 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, and a living room. Japan's smallest apartment is that big? That's a safe. That's a lockbox.
You should see the street. It's a skyscraper that goes like this.
How can that be an apartment? I talk about the coffin apartments a lot. They call them coffin apartments where you lay down in it. It's in Japan.
The world's smallest apartment complex is like this big.
Oh, I did see that. It's yeah, it's not. I think it's bigger than that. It's like 5 feet. It's like a 5 foot, and it's got a staircase that goes all crazy through it, and just like beds. Yeah, I have seen that. I saw a meme of that. But I think the way they took the picture, it made it look smaller than it was. I think it's actually like probably 5 or 10 feet wide, somewhere between there. It's not small, it's cozy. But Japan does have a lot of coffin apartments, they call them, where it's pretty much, it's a twin bed, Yeah, it's a little cubby hole. And you lay down in it. You got a TV by your feet. You could have a little shelf here and a little refrigerator. That's about it. It's comparable. Well, they don't steal in Japan like that. That's a Western thing. They have a homogenous culture, and they have an authoritarian government. They got rules. They got laws. They're strict. I'm sure people steal in Japan. They still have crime, of course,
They're smart about it.
but it's not. Yeah.
And maybe they are the ones that are like.
And I've never been to Japan, so I don't really know this, but I've read stuff. I know how to read. I've read stuff and I've watched videos. I know how to look. I know how to see things. Okay, I gotta
Big
play this.
landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide.
Housing units, not houses.
Now pass.
Almost mistalked there, Joe. Good save. Good save.
Pass and build,
You're not building houses. You're
renovate
building housing
2
units.
million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
200 million affordable homes is like one apartment complex in this utopian world the Democrats have. We're going to build 200 million homes. That means they built 10 apartment complexes, one in each major city, and each one has 20 million apartments in it. I don't know if my math was good there, but how many times has he stumbled over his words? No, he's drugged up to the ceilings right now. He's being pretty No, the reason he trips all the time is because there's an IV tube running, a clear IV tube runs under the carpet that you guys don't see, and he's constantly getting a drip.
I suspect all of you.
He's getting a drip through the sleeve. There's a tube that runs down through his jacket and it runs through the carpet. That's why he's always tripping on staircases, because it's hard to walk when you have a secret tube connected to you.
Last year. I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no
Mega
books,
City 1.
not read to, not
Exactly. Mega City. It's Sim City. When you play the game Sim City, and I'm stealing this from Destiny, I'm stealing a liberal guy's talking point, but it's a good talking point. When you want to get the high score on Sim City, you don't care about the quality of life of the million Sims that are in your city. You just care about building as many structures as tightly packed with all the resources necessary. And when you get to the highest level of SimCity, you get these like God units that are like, it's 8 blocks and it has ecosystem, industry, education, fire and police, and housing in one 8-block unit. And you just and to get the highest score I think to win the game SimCity, like old SimCity, is when you have nothing on the map but those. That's the most people you can fit with the most. Everything is the most, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but basically your whole map, and you've terraformed. You start with a map that has mountains and rivers and stuff. These things create water within them. So you don't need rivers, you don't need mountains, you don't need lakes. You just flatten once you have enough money in the game, you can just flatten all the mountains. You can terraform everything to one level, and you start at one end of the map. You have your normal city. It takes a while to get there, but you just start flattening the map from the back and building these things in a wall, and they slowly move in until the whole map is nothing but these 8x8 blocks of these structures that do everything. And that's how you get the highest score in SimCity, which is what the world is to these people.
not spoken to very often. Start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken.
Yeah, I still never played
Studies
Mass Effect.
show The children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school.
I know Bibby tells me to play Mass Effect
no
all the
matter
time.
what their background is.
I've heard of it and I've seen stuff about it. And I might have. I don't think I've heard of it.
I met a year and a half ago
Maybe I
with the
have, but
leaders
I
of the
don't think
Business
I-
Roundtable. They were mad that they were
I'll play it
angry.
someday,
I
but
said,
now
well,
I
they
gotta play
were
Subnautica.
discussing
Antaroid.
why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over I think it was 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And
Don't hold me to
I
the
asked
exact
them
number.
what they
Hey,
need
I'm
most,
okay with that,
the
Joe. I'm bad
CEOs.
with numbers too.
And you've had the same experience to both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade. I'm also connecting
His urine
local
bag?
businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to good-paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable. Let's
Right.
continue increasing the Pell Grant.
Because of AI, the jobs can be easier, so you get better paying jobs, even if you don't go to college. But at the same time, they're making college cheaper or free eventually, which lessens the value of college. So this goes back to, this is like some basic communism 101. Educate them longer and teach them less. Keep them in the schools longer. Get them in there at K4 and get them out when they're 35 and they have a doctorate degree. And they've been chronically studentized their whole life and they think they're children. It's like, I like wearing a backpack. You know, I like going to school and wearing a backpack and seeing my friends at school. And so they just stay in school forever. And then they're partying at the dorms, and you're educating them longer, teaching them less. People come out. I think I read that the average IQ of a college graduate is 90. That's not great. You shouldn't be going to college unless your IQ is at least like 120. Like, that's for college is for smart people. College is for people that need.
Barely met 118 when I was 18.
Yeah, but you probably shouldn't go to college. I wouldn't recommend you go to college.
No, I probably used the information for some weird shit or something.
Like, your mom goes to college. Yes, the smartest people go to college. That's what college is for. College is not for every dumbass who's just like, I want to keep partying. I like high school. I like going to the cafeteria and getting lunch. You know? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Get out of school. Go work. The very, very, very smart echelon, the top like 5-10% should be going to college.
Actually, they get homeschooled. They usually get better test results than everybody else.
And even then, they don't need to go to college either because they're smart enough that they don't need college. A lot of them. But I think if you're going to be a doctor and you're going to be cutting people's heads open, then you should be going to college. But, and there's, engineering, crazy levels of math for engineering and stuff and building structures. We need white people doing that. And Asians. I guess the Asians could do it. But they send over the Asians and they come to our colleges and then they steal our dang knowledge.
Grants to working and middle-class families and increased record investments.
The Asians aren't as creative, is the thing.
A minority serving
They're better at math and engineering and numbers and stuff, but we're more creative. White people. We'll take those numbers and that math and we'll come up with things to do with it.
I fixed 2 student loans.
And then China will steal it.
To reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota.
Keenan Jones. Hey, Keenan Jones. Shout out, Keenan.
Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college.
Who's this
now
girl?
He's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college.
Oh, here we go. Here's the emotional stories. Keenan got his daughter to college. Great. She's going to be destroyed.
Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
Oh my God. Yeah, public school teachers need a raise. They have such a tough job. Do you know you only need a 3rd grade education to teach a 2nd grader?
And by the way, the first couple of years we cut the deficit.
And you take
Now, let me
vacation,
speak
and
to
you
the
take
question of
weekends
fundamental
off,
fairness
and you
for all
take summers off,
Americans.
and you take holidays off.
I've been delivering real results in
Shut
fiscally responsible
up.
ways.
Get out of
We've
here.
already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the
Steve
federal
went to
deficit over $1
street
trillion.
college. Let's go, Steve.
I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade.
The two-toned hair
My
is
goal to
annoying
cut the
me,
federal deficit
bro.
another $3
And I like this girl at 7-Eleven. She's nice. This is nothing against her, but that girl looks like the girl that works at the 7-Eleven. Yep.
trillion by making big corporations and very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
Look at AOC.
Look,
Do it.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make a million or
AOC
millions
could
of
get
bucks,
it.
that's
That's all
great.
I'm saying.
Just
I
pay
may
your
not
fair
agree with her
share in
politically.
taxes.
Floor, are you still in here? Get out of here, Floor.
A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut.
course my wife.
Overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit.
Hold on, what's he talking about?
They
The
added
deficit?
more to the
Oh,
national
God.
debt than any
Oh,
president
somebody had a
in
Ukraine
American
flag. You see
history.
that, Spike? Who is this old ass dude looking like a wizard? This guy looking like Harry Potter, bro. They have that cape in Harry Potter. This is, I swear, this is an outfit in Hogwarts Legacy, the Ukraine fit. This guy's a wizard. What the heck? And is this Waters? Is this that low IQ, the Wicked Wizard from the West with the low IQ, Maxine Waters? Look at this cultural diversity, equity, and inclusion panel right here. This is the representatives of America. This is what America is now. This is what America is now. Good job, conservatives. Good job, boomers. Good job, Republicans. That's because most of y'all aren't so different than these guys. Not y'all in my chat. I know if you're watching this show, you probably at least somewhat well, Buff kind of, you know. Anyway.
They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is
My dad's other half was a 2nd grade art teacher for 35 years. My question is, 2nd grade art? Do they mean coloring books? Yeah, what are you teaching? What are you teaching these kids? You teaching these kids like spatial definitions and like stuff and like shading techniques and different what's the word? See, I don't even know the teaching stuff. Like what is the word I'm looking for? No, what you put it on. What you put it on is called, yeah, but there's a word for it. There's a word for canvas, paper, wood, whatever thing you're using. Yeah, whatever material you're working on, there's a word for that. I forget it. Let's see. Yeah, what are you teaching them in 2nd grade? They wouldn't know this either. Coloring books. The medium. No. I don't know. I can't think of the word, but
There's many different words. I think textile is one because you use that like
No, in art, there's one word for. I think it's medium. The medium you're using, or the.
That's it. Medium.
Yeah, it's like, what are you drawing on? Or what are you doing? Or I'm using canvas and paint, or I'm using chalk and chalkboard. It's the. I think it's medium. Is it medium? I don't know. But anyway, they're not teaching them this in second grade. What are you doing as a second grade art teacher? And so now she still talks to everyone like they're in second grade. Okay. Okay, Steve. Let me tell you something, Steve. When you open the refrigerator, you shouldn't hold it for too long. You have to know where the things are. You have to make sure you know where the things are, Steve. Teacher talk. I know what you're talking about. I bet she's a Democrat too. Is she a Democrat? I bet she's a Democrat. I bet you she's a Democrat.
Fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure
I like
don't.
coloring the gel pens.
I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under
Second
my
graders
plan,
can't even use
nobody
gel pens
earning
medium.
less than $400,000
They'll make a mess.
will pay additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit.
This is a new thing that I think Biden made up because I never heard this before. He started talking about it about a year or two ago, I think. Child poverty. Child poverty is a thing now that they use as like it's a think about it now. It's a buzzword. It's to get women emotional and get beta males emotional. They hear child poverty. Oh my God, the child poverty rate is up. Ask yourself this. How many children do you know with a stable income? With a job? How many kids do you know that are making money? 'Cause I don't know any unless it's like slave labor in Ethiopia, like diamond miners or something, or Nike shoemakers. But yeah, the only rich kids is the kid that's making $2 an hour working at the Nike factory. That's like child poverty. All the kids are poor. And so anyway, what they mean is parents who are poor and making children when they shouldn't be because they don't got a lot of money to take care of the child when it's born, and they call that child poverty. But really, they're not discouraging the root of the problem. They're just making up a.
No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore.
I told him, I said, it's politics
Thanks to the
week.
law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time.
That, or I might be over for that and play with you. We could probably, I'm lost. I don't know what to do with certain parts. And I was going to start a new game anyway.
Maybe for a little while. But yeah, I'll play that tomorrow night, and then Saturday night is big UFC pay-per-view. Sean O'Malley's fighting. That's the boy. So a lot of good fights on Saturday. So Saturday's gonna be fun. Hasn't been a pay-per-view in like a month, in like 2 months. UFC 299, UFC 300's coming up. Sean O'Malley's fighting tomorrow. That's gonna be good. Or Saturday. But tomorrow I'm gonna play Subnautica. Shane bought me Subnautica, so thanks, Shane. It looks pretty cool. It's like a survival. I like survival games, but I'm gonna be playing on survival mode.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to come over here, start a new survival game because I have creative and then I have the other one.
There's not multiplayer, is it?
No, it's not.
But you're just gonna start one, and we're just gonna.
And then guess where we're at.
Okay. Oh, it starts you somewhere random, huh? And the worlds are always different? Is it always
No,
a different?
The map is always the same. It's just your starting position.
Huh.
Like this time, I started over where it's perfect spot for me because it's right next to the reeds. It's right next to the cove. It's right next to everything I need, real close by. It's just you have to go past the vine things that I showed you in order to get to the deep part where the sand sharks and stuff are.
Cool. All right. I'll take that later.
Actually, if I do Twitch, I'm out of data. No, you don't want to know about it until you play it. Yeah.
You don't need data if you're here. You can use the internet.
Well, I was gonna say, wait, are you saying I can come over here right now with it? Or?
No, not right now.
Yeah, I was like, what were you saying? Sorry,
Tomorrow, you could come over for like an hour tomorrow when I start playing Subnautica and help me show me around. And then that's the beginning of the stream when usually there's not a lot of people. And then yeah. But I was saying you said you don't have data, so for Twitch, well, you were gonna stream it on Twitch.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying I have internet, so you don't have to have data. What do you mean?
I was gonna stream it over there today.
Oh.
This way you can get this thing preview and
Oh.
not really watch, but watch. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna watch you play. I'm not gonna spoil it. I just want to play. I don't. But plus, yeah.
Oh, and the little warning, I just had a recent problem with it where it started me with the
Yeah, big pay-per-view tomorrow, Buff. All right.
the crafter. It didn't start with the crafter, so I was like, how do you craft anything without a crafter?
Yeah, you could probably restart a bunch of worlds until you get a good one where you're in a good area, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna start a survival one, and I'm gonna play that for a while. And if I keep dying a lot, then I'll play adventure and get used to the game. Or I might start an adventure and a survival because I kind of want to.
It's not that hard if you don't go in the reeds. The stalkers.
I'll figure it out.
I'm just gonna tell you one spoiler.
But I gotta play. I gotta finish getting through this.
Yeah.
Don't tell me a spoiler. I don't want to know. All right, tell me the spoiler.
The stalkers, the next step where you go, they take down a quarter of your life instead of what you normally do. So.
Can they kill you?
Yes.
How?
They eat you.
But if they take a quarter of your life every time they attack, they would never get to 0. Dun dun dun. There's enemies like that in Final Fantasy where their attack always does 1/2 of your health, and so they can't kill you. Once you get down to 1 health, you can't take 1/2 of a health hit, so you just stay at 1, and they just keep hitting you and don't do anything.
Well, what I
But
meant is like, yeah.
when they hit you, they take a lot of health.
Yeah. The ones that you really gotta worry about, the big ones.
All right. Well, I'll be playing that tomorrow, probably around like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Big fight Saturday. I gotta play this though.
And to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
Corporate minimum
So
tax to
every big corporation
21%.
finally begins to pay their fair share. Also want to end tax
They talk about
breaks for big
trickle-down
pharma, big oil,
economics.
private
That's
jets, massive
trickle-down
executive pay was only
economics.
supposed to be $1 million.
Trickle-down
$1 million
economics
could be
is when you
deducted.
penalize the
They could pay
owner
him $20 million if
who's
they
taking
want,
the
but
most
deduct $1 million.
risks,
End
and
it
then the
now.
employees
You know,
who
there are
take the least
1,000
amount of
billionaires in
risks
America.
don't get
You know what
penalized.
the average federal tax is for those
The
billionaires?
problems of the company trickle down
No.
to everybody else, so the shit rolls
They're
down the
making great
hill.
sacrifices, 8.2%.
That's what trickle-down economics is. They got it
That's far
backwards.
less than the vast
They,
majority of Americans pay.
I noticed this when I was reading, and don't quiz me about it now because I don't remember. I'd have to refresh my memory. But I kept hearing about trickle down economics. And when I looked into trickle down economics from a Democratic standpoint, they're basically explaining trickle up economics. They're like, we're going to work from the bottom up to fix the problem by hurting the people at the top. And it doesn't make any sense the way they talk about it, because you tax the guy at the top. The problems from that extra taxation, more taxation. I'm not saying it should be less. I'm saying it should be equal. Maybe it should be less because the person at the top is taking the most risk, putting the most time and effort into it. And then the other people underneath, they're not taking any risks. They're just doing something extra to get a little bit of money, hourly, whatever. When they want to get paid more, they can go build their own thing, right? That's the idea of free market enterprise capitalism, blah, blah, blah. But they say trickle down economics, and then what they explain is like, they always talk about bottom up. It's from the bottom up. We're gonna help the rich. We're gonna hurt these people at the top, and it's gonna. But what happens is, trickle down economics is you attack the guy at the top, and it hurts the guys at the bottom more. I don't know. It doesn't make. I looked into trickle down economics and what that was all about years and years and years ago. My memory's not fresh on it, so I don't want to say something that sounds stupid.
No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
All right, let's finish this. Let's finish this, Joe. We paused a lot. Let's get through this.
I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise?
25%.
That would raise
25. Now, here's the question. Why, what encourages you to be a billionaire in America if you get 25 taken off the top? When you become a billionaire, does that mean when you become a billionaire, they're taking 25% of your money? Or when you become a billionaire, all the money you make, they're taking 25% of. So what happens is people get to billionaire status in America and they move to Guatemala or Norway or freaking Australia or freaking wherever they move to. They move. They get out. Why am I going to be here once I become a billionaire? Doesn't make sense. And billionaires are not as uncommon as I thought they were. I think I was talking to Freddie a long time ago. And he's like, guess how many billionaires do you think there are? And I said like 300 or 500 in America or something like that. And he said, no, there's like 5,000 or there's something. I'm not good with numbers, guys. You know this, but it was a whole lot more than I expected. But also at the same time, yes, there's more billionaires, but $1 billion is like $1 million was 4 years ago. When Trump was in office, dang Millie was like a Billy. Now a Billy's looking silly. I'm getting illy. Oh, stop.
$100 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care.
Oh my God, he's doing Imagine.
And people living with disabilities.
Oh, he's struggling.
They can stay in their homes, and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends.
Yeah, I know you want us to stand up for seniors, Joe.
On the chopping block.
Look at
If
Marjorie.
anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy, That's the proposal.
That was a tough sentence, Joe.
Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealth. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
I really think Kamala admires. It's either admiration or contempt that I see in her eyes, or it's both at the same time. Like, she admires him. She's like, he's in the spot that I want. How do I get? It's both. It's jealousy. It's contempt. It's just her eyes. She's just, man. These people. Could you imagine having a conversation with one of these dang reptiles?
Look. Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it.
He's going to stop shrinkflation. He's going to stop shrinkflation. They're going to put more chips in the bag. Let's go, America. We're going to get more Lay's potato chips for our $2.50. I love America. We get an extra Twinkie in the box.
We all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get the same amount. And you got about, I don't know, 10%.
No, Snickers bars, the dang black one is bigger than the white one. This is a travesty. This is a dang travesty, Snickers. I want to sue Snickers because of that. I'm going to put it on the table. And then, dang, I just skipped all the way back. Oh, my God. I'm horrible.
A month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home.
Hold on.
Or trade up for a little more space.
Hold on. There's a way to do this.
Just for 2 years.
Is this where I was at? There's a way to do this. I can look at the playback here. Hold up. I think I'm pretty close to where I was at. Did he just say that? I'm zoning out. I can't even listen to what he's talking about. More chips in the box.
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence.
This is a Geico commercial?
We're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, using
Shrinkflation. The economy was in the pool.
Price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I suspect all of you.
Exactly, stubborn one. That's why, and then with AI, you add AI to that. There's less jobs. Rich people get richer, poor people get poorer, and they get incentivized to leave America. Lower wages, more McDonald's going to have more computers, less people. They got a machine that can put that dang burger together. My boy. And then they're trying to pay $20 an hour to the employees, $30 an hour. If $20 an hour is the minimum, is what fast food and jobs like that are paying, then a decent job's got to be $30. But then the contractors and stuff, what this does is it destroys the independent contractors and the mom and pops and the small business owners and stuff, because they're doing good. Then there's a readjustment to the system. Walmart can slowly raise its prices and nobody's going to bitch, because they're still going to go to Walmart and Amazon and dang Kmart no more, but Target, stuff like that. But the mom and pop shop, when they have to raise their prices to keep up, when the independent contractors have to raise their prices to keep up with these bigger ones, people just go to the bigger ones. People are just like, well, I'll get my granite countertops from Home Depot. I'll go to Home Depot and they have a granite countertop section and they'll install it and blah blah. They're gonna commission the job out to some Mexican, and they're gonna run and install your granite. It's gonna look like shit. Fabrication, the installation, everything's gonna be whack. But because the mom and pop guy, the independent contractor guy, had to raise their prices to keep up with the market, it's a mess, man. And Biden is not fixing it. Whatever it sounds like, it's not.
Want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. I think I pointed out last year.
Yeah, a robot's not going to spit on your burger, ever. A robot will never spit on your burger. I'll take a robot building my burger than a human building my burger. But, yeah.
I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
Preschool. Educate them longer, teach them less. We need to get college cheaper so they stay in there longer. And we need younger schooling. We need the kids in school by 2 or 3.
A year ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable.
Let's get the kids in there by 3, Joe. Can we get preschool?
Why I wanted to spend money on education.
Maybe we can just educate. Hey, women. Maybe we can just educate them from birth. From birth. We just put them in the education system. And then they can stay in there until they're 55 and they retire.
Vice President, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most. CEOs. And you've had the same experience both sides. Educated workforce, right? So I looked at them and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me?
They had K4, now they need
the best educated workforce in the world.
Pre-K, pre-K.
I think you're right.
We need K2 and 1.
I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
Bro, I think I read It from Stephen King when I was in 3rd grade. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure in second grade I read Carrie and The Shining, and in third grade, and this was in Christian school. They didn't know I was reading these books. I was supposed to be reading these books, but I think I had read It, which is like 900 pages. The uncut, the unedited director's volume of It. I think I read that in third grade. It took me like all year. That was the first big book. Carrie, I think, and The Shining were the first big books that I read. That was probably like second grade. Yeah.
I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure the college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you.
Oh, I've
He's
seen this
educated
already.
Hundreds of students so they can go to college.
Okay, I went way far back on accident. We're way up here.
Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less.
Damn, I'm gonna not
That's
be able
why
to
it's
get through it
cracking
all.
down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer.
Yeah. We got past this.
Same size.
Guys, I backtracked. I'm not even gonna get through this whole thing. I gotta leave. I gotta end the stream and
Bag. You get fees. Announced we're cutting the collection, and that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30-some dollars. They don't like it. The credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating.
I don't know an American family that has $20 billion a year.
That's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises.
Is this an advertisement for DirecTV or something? He's been doing an ad read for the past 20 minutes. We're going to lower your house insurance with Geico.
Negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so?
Nobody wants to hear about your border security, buddy.
You don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing.
No.
That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers.
Don't do numbers, Joe.
So they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years.
Damn, they got Joe on the numbers. And I'm surprised he didn't start talking about million, billion, gazillion, trillions.
Years now. What are you against? 100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling
Shut it
fentanyl
down,
in America.
bitch.
That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives.
I would say, Joe, shut it down, bitch, to his face. They wouldn't like that. That's why I would never be interviewing Joe Biden. Could that get me in trouble? Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say that? Shut it down, bitch. Circus calling itself Shakespeare.
And bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
Do it.
The Border Patrol
Oh, it's been that
unions
way for
endorsed this
4
bill.
years, Joe.
The Federal
3
Chamber
years.
of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts.
We looked at them.
I know you know how to read.
Yeah. I know how to read, Joe.
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far.
No,
I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill.
Wow.
He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political win for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
Oh, they got Marjorie. Got it. Marjorie just stung him. Marjorie just came in and said, "Fwah!"
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many
An illegal?
people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say,
That's
my
not-
heart
that's
goes
not
out
a
to you, having
response.
lost children myself.
That's not a response to the question. That's a whataboutism. That's a what about the men though? When you say, "Hey, how come women are trying to be like men?" And they're like, "Well, how come men are being like women?" That's a what about. That's a what about the men though? That's a whataboutism. That's a what about something else? Do you love the blacks? Well, I love all people. That's not what. Do you love the white? Do you love the Jews? Well, I love all people. What about the Jews, though? We're talking about what the question is about. And he did a, oh.
I understand.
Hold on.
Hey, my heart goes out to you, having lost
Marjorie's
children by
stinging him
illegals.
up.
That's right.
It's sad that that's like our, this is like the representation of MAGA. It's kind of sad. I don't like it.
But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the
Theo had a Border Patrol agent on his show earlier in the week. Great. I wish I could play it, but they'll have the video taken down. They won't just strike it. They'll get the video taken down. I don't think my channel would get canceled or anything like that, but Theo's not trying to monetize off other people. He's just like he doesn't want. Anyway, it's smart. It's smart. I like it.
the country.
But Theo had a Border Patrol agent on, and it was a deep episode. It was like learning about the asylum loophole and all that stuff. This guy knew what he was talking about.
It's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be capable.
He's literally quoting what the Border Patrol agent said in the Theo Von video the other night. He's literally quoting a viral YouTube video right now that has been making the rounds, and it's a good video. It's a great podcast, a great interview. So I wonder, is the guy that Theo had on setting up the plot? No. I think the guy that Theo had on was genuine, and he's talking about what he saw, and everything makes perfect sense. And I'm like, yes, that all sounds good. And I think Joe is trying to. They got their fingers on the pulse. They got people who are watching social media. They know what things to talk about. They know that the border issue is a big thing. Theo just had this big viral video, and Joe is basically quoting from that video right now. It's kind of interesting.
Able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now. And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together, but that's what here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate
I gotta take my
families.
pants off. Y'all can't see that.
I will not
separate families.
ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more.
Bro, Trump is like Voldemort. He started this, I think, last year. He will not. It's the name we do not say. We do not invoke the name of my predecessor. The predecessor. The predecessor. That's Trump.
Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years.
That's so stupid.
Home to people of from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans.
He's coughing. He's coughing. They got to get him off. So,
Look, folks. We have a simple choice.
I can't watch all
We
of it.
can fight
He goes for
about
another.
fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now. A transformational moment in history. Happened 59 years ago today
Transformational
in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right
Rip
to
the
vote.
bridge down, Joe.
They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead.
Those
Our
are
late friend
Democrats.
and former colleague John
Those were
Lewis was on
Democrats.
that march.
Those were LARPers
We
in
miss
the
him.
base. Those were the Sigma males.
But joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma, the daughter of gospel singers and preachers. She sang songs of prayer and
Let's
protest
go, Selma.
on that bloody Sunday.
Wow.
The nation's conscience.
Praise
5
the
months
Lord.
later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law. Thank you.
Oh, but what about church and state? What about church and separation from church and state? Oh, we have separation from church and state. If I ever hear conservatives say separation from church and state again, I'm going to verbally smack them up. Don't ever say that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But 59 years later, there are forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering.
Jerry!
John Lewis is a great friend to many of us here.
I like
But
Ben
if
and
you truly
Jerry's.
want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him,
I want
then it's
some Ben
time
and
to do
Jerry's.
more than talk.
Yo, wouldn't it be funny if he was like, gerrymandering? I like Ben and Jerry's. I'll think about Ben and Jerry's sometimes.
Pass the Freedom to Vote Act.
Get the baby powder. Oh,
John
flour.
Lewis Voting Right Act.
Yeah, you talk about separation from church and state as a conservative. I'm gonna get some. We're gonna antique you. You ever see Jackass? I used to do that to my friend. We did that at church camp. We would just go around antiquing people. We would buy a bag of flour, take a handful of flour, just go whack while they're sleeping. It gets all stuck in their eyes and in their nose and their mouth. Like, ah. When you get antiqued, if you ain't never been white faced, then you don't even know life.
And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong.
No, it's not.
Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights.
I think
Pass
making
the
some of
Equality
those
Act.
books is wrong. And they should have never been released in the first place. Those people should have been banned. The people who write those books for children should be banned from the world.
Raise the federal minimum wage.
Call me crazy.
Because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour.
No, they can stay in the world. They get the world.
We're also
They can
making
have the
history by
world.
confronting the climate crisis, not
But they get
denying
banned from any sort
I
of
don't think any of you
governance
think
or
there's
any
no
sort
longer
of rule or
climate crisis.
power.
At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant.
They can
action
have the
ever on
wolves and
climate in
the
history of world.
alligators. We'll throw them out to the jungle.
I'm cutting our carbon
They don't get to
emissions
be in
half by
civilization.
2030.
It's not
Creating
civilized.
Tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBW workers building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities.
Yeah, here we
smothered
go.
by the
Climate.
legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future.
There we go.
Triple that number in a decade.
Whitewash these kids. Hey, I would antique AOC. Blah! And then, oh my, stop.
To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30%
Who is that?
went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my.
See, that like, so when Marjorie says her piece and she's wearing the MAGA suit, ah, man, it is theater. It is theater. Like that guy makes, I don't know, man. I just want to see Trump and Biden debate. That's all I want to see. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be angry. Anger. I'm going to be flipping tables. And I'm going to be looked at as angry. It would be said, they were said to think I was angry. I won't be angry, really. Really, hopefully we're going to get some good content out of this. I'm hoping that it's going to be funny. You know is funny the same thing as angry? Is funny the same thing as angry? Because if that's the case, then it's a sad, sad world we live in. No, I think God has a sense of humor. Anyway,
American Rescue Plan.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Which every American voted against, I might add. We made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police
Not
officers.
true. You stop
more
keeping
mental health
statistics
workers,
on it.
more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic
That was you, Joe. That was you, Joe, that signed the 94 crime bill. That was you, Joe. It was the most one of the most base things you've ever done.
When I was a senator.
And it did reduce crime, and it worked. Stop and frisk, all that stuff worked.
Women in America.
Being lax on crime, you're not lowering the crime rates. I disagree. I think you're lying out his ass. Violent crime is down because they're not keeping the same statistics as they used to. They're not counting things because a lot of the statistics turn out to look racist. You can't have racist statistics
with 21
in the
classmates
FBI.
in elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oof. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Here we go, guns. I told you. Hey! I'm glad I saw this. I called it. I called it in order to. I said threat against the democracy, and then I said something else, and then I said climate change, and then I said guns. Maybe I put guns before climate change, actually, and he flipped them. But so it was just climate change, and now it's guns to wrap up. To wrap up, we got to hit them at the finish with the guns.
Pass universal background checks.
Every time they stand, take a drink.
None of this. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years.
So I think that was a bunch of Democrats, and they're not even standing up for that. Democrats like guns, too. Authoritarianism is neither left nor right. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. Or they're talking about some really old political scale. And if that's the case, then monarchy and theocracy and God are the only thing that are right wing. But anyway, a political compass, you can be an authoritarian commie. You can be an authoritarian capitalist. You could be an anarchist commie or an anarchist capitalist. Like, the spectrum is big. There's a lot of, and that's kind of because that's how people think. And politics is just trying to think how we should best control large groups of people, pretty much. Or maybe not rule. Let's not say control, because control sounds evil, and I don't think it always has to be evil. Let's say rule. The best way to rule over many people. And I know God is the ultimate ruler, but God assigns men to rule, and God assigns men to lead, and God assigns men to judge, and God assigns men maybe sometime to prophesy, and sometime to teach, and sometimes to lead. Or I already said lead, but you get the point. But so I think that's how government should work. We should go that way. But what am I saying? Oh, I'm saying lefties like guns too, is the point. There's Antifa who love their ARs because they want to kill people too. Hopefully they're not as physically fit and tactically effective as the the Southern boys are and the country boys, country boy can survive, something like that. I think that we would win against the Antifa types. They're too busy with hair dye to well, they play a lot of Call of Duty, and I think that can help. That's some Ender's Game shit. They trained them, so be careful.
Years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners.
Here comes the guns.
As we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East.
No duh. Israel.
I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence.
I don't think I can watch all this, guys. I gotta go.
For
Damn, I gotta go. But hey, it's Friday. It's Friday. The weekend's coming up. I can't finish this. I gotta go. Like, I gotta be in the. Well, really, I don't, but I do. I like to be early. But anyway, yeah, I'll finish this. It's pretty much over. Damn, he's still going. Well, there's the Republicans' response after. His speech ends in like 8 minutes. Let's just get through it.
the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also
Yeah, it's nice.
We will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world.
We're united in one thing, and that's the politicians and our allegiance to Israel, which makes me question a lot of things. I'm not totally against that. I mean, well, my thing is, why? Well, I don't know. I get it a little bit to an extent. I understand, but at the same time, I'm not that worried about Israel or Ukraine. But all the politicians, for the most part, you're not gonna, except for AOC and the squad, you're not gonna be seeing no pro-Palestinian people in the.
Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden.
Get them off the
Hamas
stage.
hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom
Says who?
are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women
Some
and children,
some
girls and boys,
Israel
also
sounding
orphans.
guy says
Nearly
who?
2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin.
Yeah, they just finally came out with a report. Hake read it today. He said over 4 Palestinians have died, or 20 Palestinians have died in the last month from lack of food and stuff. And Destiny was doing a thing on his stream the other night where he read that no Palestinian has died of hunger in the last 20 years. And they were all saying that this is bullshit. And then at the end of the article, when Hake read it, it said this story cannot be confirmed. Nobody's dying of hunger in Palestine. Nobody has died of more people die from hunger in America. Of course, America is way bigger, but more people die of hunger in America than in Palestine. And we've been being told that they're going to die from lack of food and water, and it's all a lie. Like, so I'm just
Families
saying.
without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis.
9:20, I gotta go.
Enduring, something more enduring.
We're gonna skip ahead.
The U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelter. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable.
How do we set up a temporary pier without U.S. boots being on the ground? Who's going to build it?
A massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
All right. I'm going to have to watch the Republican response and stuff in the stream tomorrow, guys. We're going to be streaming tomorrow. Snore stream Fridays. Snore stream Fridays. We'll be streaming late tomorrow. I'll watch the last 20 minutes of that. And then I don't know what else we're going to talk about. Oh, we're going to play Subnautica. We're going to play some Subnautica. Check it out. It's like Minecraft or Terraria survival game underwater. So you catch Squidwards and SpongeBobs. Looks pretty epic. It's an old game. I'm like a boomer. It's an oldie, but it seems like a goodie. We're going to try it out. But I'll finish watching this tomorrow because I didn't see all of it. But I'm going to head out. Thanks for hanging out, Matt. See Sal Rome. Bibby was here earlier in Stubborn One. Spike. Everybody. Floor, don't let me get around Lauren Boebert. No, I'm just joking. You love Subnautica? Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I've seen a lot of video and gameplay, and I'm like, that looks fun. That's something I like just mindless swimming around, harvesting stuff, and building structures, and that's what I like those games. So, and underwater, it seems like a good idea. So, I'll play that tomorrow. I will see you guys later. I gotta go. It's 9:20. I need to be out of here in 10 minutes. So, peace. God bless. Joe Biden's an idiot.